This one is dedicated to a fine body of men. We're just one man, and that man is Chris McLaren. This is a dedication to Chris. I was going to do it at some point anyway, but Chris kind of unknowingly inspired me. I got this record. This is the first or second Motorhead record. I got this in May or June. I got it a long time ago, and just haven't got around to it yet, as is the case with many others. And Chris texted me a couple of days ago or earlier this week something about Motorhead, and we talked a little bit about it. Then he texted me something else. He was sending me Motorhead clips, check these out. And again, we talked about Motorhead. So that kind of spurred me on and inspired me and motivated me and pushed me to talk about the first Motorhead record, which I'm going to do right now. Now, my history with Motorhead, there's no need to go over that again. It's been well documented. I've talked about it several times. But this album, it's not even that I didn't, sometimes I say it's not that I didn't like it, it's that I just wasn't into it. I really didn't like this album. When I first heard it, and for many, many years, I thought this album is really not very good. That's really changed because I love it now, which I'll talk about. But this is not, and when I mentioned that it's the first or possibly second Motorhead record, of course, On Parole was recorded first, but released third or fourth, something like that. And but this is the first record that was released, self-titled Motorhead, in 1978, 7, let's say. And it doesn't really sound like Motorhead. Now, I was late into this. I got this album in on CD. I've never had the record. This is the first for me having the record. But I got this in the 90s for sure, maybe even late 90s. And by that point, I was well into Motorhead. I got into Motorhead in 1983. I said I wasn't going to tell my Motorhead history, but there's a little bit. So, this album, it is very different sounding, definitely. It doesn't sound, like a lot of bands, their first album, maybe even second album. Later, when they get, bigger, or when people really embrace them, and you go back and you say, wow, the first records don't sound like how I know them. This Motorhead record's like that. I guess, I don't know, bands sometimes have to, they have to find themselves and find their sound. Some go the opposite way. The first Pearl Jam album was definitely different than what came later. But I think they had a different sound in every record. But I'm not here to talk about Pearl Jam. Who else was like that? Red Hot Chili Peppers, maybe their first, the first one, Freaky Styley and Uplift Mofo Party Plan, didn't really sound like what Red Hot Chili Peppers sound like later. I'm having a hard time making this comparison. But they didn't sound like Motorhead here. They didn't have that classic, the Motorhead, that buzz, that grit, whatever you call it. Lemmy wasn't really Lemmy then. Lemmy was eating, and On Parole was even, I wouldn't say worse, but even farther removed from what Motorhead turned out to be. So when I heard this, I was already into, I really loved Another Perfect Day and Orgasmatron and Rock and Roll and Ace of Spades and everything and Iron Fist. So when I heard this was a real surprise for me. It's only been in the last few years that I've really learned to love this album. And I would even say, there are some albums that I have, and probably everybody has, that you go back and you say, well, if they had recorded this album with the production of this later album, I would have loved it. You could say Kiss Hotter Than Hell. If Hotter Than Hell had sounded like Love Gun, or Venom is like that too. If Black Metal and Welcome to Hell sounded, I don't know if there were any Venom albums that sounded good. Their later albums actually sounded really good. Even the first Slayer, I love Show No Mercy. But you think, wow, if Show No Mercy had sounded like Rain and Blood, Show No Mercy would have been way better. I'm sure you could think of a million examples like that. If Saint Anger had sounded like Master of Puppets, maybe it still would have sucked. But that's what you kind of think about this album. And I think that's why I didn't like it, was because I thought, this doesn't sound like Motorhead. And I had this closed-minded mentality to it. But I guess over the years, I've realized that that's not going to change. It's not going to go back and sound like, like classic Motorhead. So I've learned to just kind of accept it for what it is, and really, really liked it. I think this is a great album. The songs As I said, maybe the sound is not that good, but the songs are great. And I think the sound of it prevented me from realizing how good these songs really are until somewhat recent years. I think that's it in general for this album. I guess I'll open up and go through it track by track now. Now this is one, there should be a date on here. July 12th. I thought it was in May or June, but it was July 12th that I got this. And there it is. And I'll open it up. And maybe I'll take it out. It's stuck in there good. I know it is. It does say here, Motorhead white vinyl, and it's in there. Oh, it's stuck in there good. It's in there tight. I hit my cat. No, I didn't. She's over there. There it is. No hype sticker, nothing, just classic. This is actually really, there were different covers for this. This looks more like the No Remorse album cover. This had, I think the real original Motorhead record had the pink Motorhead logo, no? And it was not quite, or not Motorhead logo, logo. Not the font was a little bit different. It wasn't what we know now as the classic Motorhead. But there it is, and there's the back, very simple. Very cool, actually, the silver. All right, I'll open it up and see what it looks like. This is a really, this one's going to be hard to open. There's no opening here. Let me, I have bad lighting here too. Maybe I can get it from this end. So amateur that I'm struggling like this. There we go, all right. And I don't know what is inside other than the white vinyl. I do have this on CD. I think it just had very basic, the booklet was very basic. I can take this off. Maybe I can't. All right. Oh, and you know what? I should say, I bought, the other day, I bought Bluetooth. Finally, I'm into the Bluetooth world. I got Bluetooth earbuds with a microphone, because the sound always sucks when I do these videos. And I know, and I do somewhat apologize for that, because I'm in this, spacious apartment with high ceilings, and the sound is not that good, so I bought Bluetooth earbuds with a microphone. And when I tried them, I was going to debut them today in this video. I got the Bluetooth connected to my phone, no problem, but I can't figure out how to get the mic. And I had a phone call earlier today, and I used them, and it worked with the phone call. But when I tried to do the video, the microphone, when I started recording, it just recorded through the microphone in the camera. So I gotta figure that out. There you go. So hopefully the next one will sound better. Oh, this looks good. All right. All right, cool. No lyrics, but a decent effort, it looks like. This is, they call this a collage. There it is on that side, and there it is on that side. These are letters. I'm not sure to or from whom. There are 3 letters, so I assume maybe they're from, one is signed from Filthy. This one looks like it's signed. Filthy, Eddie. I think I know the third one is Lemmy, but I can't really... oh, yeah, there it is. So these are letters. I'm not sure who they're written to. And there's the white vinyl. I like the white vinyl. It looks pretty cool. I had the Iron Maiden triple Legacy of the Beast live in Mexico City, Nights of the Dead triple record. Had the 3 colors of the Mexican flag. And I really like that white. And there it is on here, too. Oh, really cool. I like that. And there it is on Chiswick Records. Cool. All right, let me put this back. So going through this track by track, the first song is Motorhead by the band Motorhead on the album Motorhead. And this one, I've maybe said this before about Motorhead when I talked about, what albums have I talked about so far? Bomber and Overkill. My favorite songs, it's possible that the song Motorhead, the first song from here, as you can see, is possibly my favorite Motorhead album of all of them. Sorry, my favorite Motorhead song out of all of them. I love that song and this version especially. There are many versions. There's I guess Hawkwind did it, and I was never into Hawkwind. I don't know if I've mentioned that. Hawkwind had Motorhead, and then there was the On Parole version, this one. No Sleep Till Hammersmith, of course. I think I like this one the best. The On Parole version is not that good. It doesn't have any bite. It's really good. Oh my God, what a song that is. Sunrise, Wrong Side of Another Day, Sky High and 6,000 Miles Away. Don't know how long I've been awake, wound up in an amazing state. Can't get enough, and you know it's righteous stuff. Goes up like prices at Christmas. Motorhead, Remember Me Now, Motorhead, all right. Amazing song. That's a killer classic Motorhead song. I think they stopped playing that in their last 20 years. I saw them play it the first time I ever saw them on the Orgasmatron tour in 1986. They played it. I think that might have been the only time I heard them, because I saw them 4 or 5 times after that. I don't think they played it ever again, or at least not around those years anyway. I'm not a Motorhead set list aficionado, but there we go. Anyway, next is Vibrator, because I'm a vibrator. Very fun song. I like this song a lot too. It doesn't really sound like Motorhead. Now this is credited to Larry Wallace. I don't know if that's music and lyrics. They're not typical Motorhead lyrics. They're not typical Lemmy lyrics anyway. I guess it was Larry Wallace who wrote the lyrics of this one. That's a really, really good song too. And I think if you read closely between the lines of the lyrics, it might be the song Vibrator might be about the sex toy as a vibrator. Clean me up and put me away, and I knew I was the one for you when you came for the second time. And what else? Plug me in now. No, slick and smooth. I'm ready to improve your mood and make you feel fine. Hey, it could be about a real vibrator. I'm not sure, but that's a great song. And you know, my ex-wife Lily, we like a lot of some of the same music. Love a lot of the same music. She hates Motorhead. Loves the song Vibrator. Take that as you will. Next is Lost Johnny. That's an excellent song too. That's got that kind of Motorhead groove to it. This was maybe the first. There are a couple of ones on here that really had that, maybe the debut of the Motorhead groove, because I don't know if On Parole had it. But Lost Johnny, I would say in recent years, Motorhead is definitely my favorite on this record, but in more recent years, Lost Johnny I think is the one that I listen to most. Just because I've heard Motorhead so many times, I still enjoy listening to it. But I think in more recent years, I get a lot more out of Lost Johnny than anything on this record. Next is Iron Horse, Born to Lose. I like this one too. This was one I think that they used to be a staple in their set, and they dropped it many years ago. We ride the road that don't have no end. On Iron Horse. Iron Horse is life. Iron Horse is wife. Iron Horse is life. Good song. And I like this. This has got, there's a line in this, loaded forever, ferociously stoned. And I love the band Cherry Poppin' Daddies. I know you don't like Cherry Poppin' Daddies, but I love them. They're one of my favorites. I talked about their whole discography 2 or 3 years ago. And they have a song, a record. Their first album was called Ferociously Stoned. Presumably taken from Iron Horse, Born to Lose. I don't know. But that's a great song too. Again, great songs. The sound is not the best, but really good songs. If you flip it over, the next song is White Line Fever. And great drum intro on Iron Horse, Born to Lose. I make Motorhead songs sound so happy with my crappy musical singing along. And then side 2, White Line Fever. Also a great drum intro. Reminds me of Snakebite, well, later, much later, Snakebite Love. I think I knew Snakebite Love, the song, first before White Line Fever, I'm not sure. But when I hear the drums of White Line Fever, it made me think of the drums in Snakebite Love. And musically, this one sounds a little bit like, it's also got that groove, a little bit like Live to Win. Really good song, White Line Fever. Only 8 songs on this record. Keep Us on the Road is next. That's a good one too. I really like Keep Us on the Road. A little bit of a longer Motorhead song. I think that one's close to 6 minutes. The Watcher is next. I really like The Watcher too. This is great. This is kind of Lemmy. I think vocally the way Lemmy sings on The Watcher reminds me of, again, this is, you know, in retrospect from 1916, which I really like. And maybe I'll talk about that album someday. Yeah, The Watcher, it reminds me of Nightmare, The Dreamtime. Just the almost not quite spoken word, like Serial Killer, but a little bit different. The Watcher is excellent. And quite a different Motorhead song too. A little bit maybe psychedelic. Like The Watcher a lot. And then the last is Train Kept a Rollin', Train Kept a Rollin' All Night Long. There's been a million covers of that song. Maybe Motorhead does the best one. Motorhead, I think, Motorhead covers, I've talked about this before, I hate their covers of, their Metallica covers suck. They covered Enter Sandman and Whiplash. They covered Breaking the Law. That cover sucks. But when they cover these old, you know, the staples, the old rock songs, Train Kept a Rollin', Louie Louie, what was the other one? Please Don't Touch. I like those. But yeah, Train Kept a Rollin'. I don't really care about that song. I don't know if anybody has done a version that I really like, but the Motorhead version is very good. So there it is. This is a rediscovery for me. I almost feel like this is a new Motorhead record that I'm just discovering now, even though I've had it for decades. Well, not the record, but the CD. So there it is. I like it a lot. This is the very first Motorhead record. Yes!